get the ball rolling. Good morning, fellow DGen and DGenettes. I hope some of y'all had a good night. Last night, a lot of questions. Was up answering a lot of questions. There's a ton of really good info. A lot of nice screenshots from last night. So, anybody just joined overnight, just scroll through everything we went through last night. We went through a lot of little stuff in the chat that could help with real-time stuff. For gold, I want to make sure everyone understands the proper time frames. So let's pop into the settings. Right, for gold, if you're new, right, and this is all pinned in the quantum chat. This is what you're looking at: the time frame 1 SR lines and the time frame 2 SR lines. These two things are the only thing you will ever want to touch outside of the default settings. All right, the default settings are automatically set to what I use. The only other thing I adjust at times, if I don't want to see too many levels or lines, if it feels like it's crowded, you could adjust this max points per current price, showing the levels. Right now we made the adjustment to show levels a little deeper than what we used to. So we have areas to keep an eye for as it approaches certain areas. Okay, so I don't know if we pushed that out yet or not, but if we haven't, we definitely will. For NQ, right, let's go to NQ. NQ, the only difference you want to have is that time frame 2 SR should be the 5 minute. So when I use quantum, I like to correlate what the two time frames that create my levels are doing. Those action lines, I call them the EMAs. They mimic the same thing that the EMAs do. They're not your typical EMA. All right, we're supposed to call them action lines, and I'm kind of veering myself into calling that now, even though sometimes I always still say EMAs because everyone understands what an EMA is, right? These are not your typical EMAs. We're supposed to be calling them action lines because they create our levels on the 1 and the 5, and they give me guidance to what's going on. Outside of the colored candles, those action lines are the main thing I'm looking at, right? Those things that create these levels that if you zoom out, you start seeing when they form and they hold where they tend to go. Okay, let me move this for now. Right, you'll see stuff like this. Right, this is something that we went over a lot last night, that I don't like to personally take trades in the middle of nowhere where there are no levels for my action lines to react to. Right, I look for areas like this. Right, look where this level was formed. Right, just so happen to have your blues and purples right here lined up. Right, A++ setup that gave you a buy and a sell here. Okay, you wait for that level to form. You're in the middle of nowhere. I don't have a direction to really go. Right, it could go down, could go up. I'd be waiting. This is your back and forth blues and purple. So if you guys watch my YouTube videos, I would say the 4 most recent ones, excluding the study session, I go over how to identify quantum ranges. And quantum ranges are very, very simple to identify. You just want that blue and that purple candle to appear in that same general price. You don't want one to be up here and one down here. You want them to be in that straight line, right? You see all these candles over here. You see these two appear, and your purples are your bearish candle. So your purple will be what you want to mark is that top side wick. I'm not going to mark the wicks up here. I'm looking for this right here, this particular candle, right? There's a specific reason these guys form these levels, these A++ setups, right? When they're attached to these candles, and these tend to hold, right? And then you have your bullish candle, which at this point was this guy. Right, so as soon as I saw this and this close below, right, you have this one down here to watch out for. It didn't pull below there, obviously. It stayed up here and then gave you another blue, which then what would I do? I'd move this down there. And then obviously that overtook the purple. So what I would normally wait for on a quantum range is for a retest. If it broke out and never retest, I'll just watch it. I won't really get into that trade. I also want to see room, right? If I want to see room, if there's a level nearby and it's less than 10 points, I'm not taking that. There's no guarantee that it's going to hit a level, right? It could, but there's no guarantee that it will. You could get stuck in a chop zone in a range area, right? This broke out, obviously overtook that bearish candle, failed bearish move, right? One of Max's favorite things to say, there's nothing more bullish than a failed bearish move, and vice versa. There's nothing more bearish than a failed bullish move. Here you see that failed bullish bearish move, broke, and then just took off a little bit, right? Broke out 66, hit 74, almost 10 points. Not quite, came back, and look what it does. It retests the level that just so happens to be inside the range as well. So a couple confluences here for you to potentially see a setup. But again, I don't like to see these wild wicks with these EMAs all the way up here. I like to see them closer. But guess what happened in a little bit, right? If you were watching your 5-minute time frame, what would you have possibly noticed? Right? You see that 5-minute level that formed right here, right? Your EMAs are pointing up. They're not pointing down. So I'm not liking this short here. I'm not liking this short just based on what my 5-minute, that's my other level creator, is doing. It's pointing up and potentially going to form another level. So here you see what I like to call the stacked levels, the 1 minute and the 5-minute for NQ, right? For gold, it would be the 1 minute and the 2 minute. When you see those two forming very close, pointing in that same direction, this tends to give you a good move to the direction it's going, right? In this particular instance, it was up. So as soon as I saw this here curling up, right? I see this curling down, this is curling up. I'm waiting to see one of two things. Either am I going to be stuck in a range because now my 1 minute and my 5-minute are fighting against each other until they decide to go in the same direction, right? As soon as I see my blues and purples, I know, okay, there's my range. There's my range. I'm going to wait. Let's see what happens. Now I'm seeing the sell signal get obliterated by a buy signal, and I'm looking at my 5-minute and I'm going, oh, okay, this is looking interesting now. Let me keep an eye to see. Obviously it broke it and moved. Let's see if it comes back and retests an area, right? I do this the same thing during power hour when I'm saying, well, let me see what happens if it comes back to this area to retest it. If it doesn't, oh well. If I'm in the middle of nowhere, I don't see a good setup. I need to see a like a support area, somewhere where it could hold, right? This is that area currently here. As long as this level at 63 held, right, which you could also combine with that previous range area, we should see a push up if the 5-minute continues to hold above. And look what happens. You have a little buy signal on the 5-minute, and there's your move up. Gave you a little nice push up, stack level formation, boom, boom, all the way up to the 90s, right? About 25 points, right? Would I have ridden that whole 25 points? No, I wouldn't have, right? I follow my routine. No one, my routine is not secret. My routine is the same. I take 5 points, 10 points, and I let my runner collect the rest. Do you guys have to copy me to the T on that? No, you don't. You absolutely don't. But this is how I do it, right? I don't keep it a secret. That's just what I've been doing on repeat for a very long time. And it works for me, right? The 5 points for me reduces the risk, eases my anxiety, and I can let the trade roll. I don't have to worry about taking the L. I'm entering a trade already accepting the L. Like if I lose it, oh well, I'll be fine. I'm going to wait for the next one because I know there's plenty of setups to come. And that's what's important with this. I'm looking for the same risks. I'm looking for the same movements. I'm looking for the same amount of move over and over and over again, right? I like to have my risks be around 15 points with NQ. With gold, around $2, $1.50, right? 15 ticks, 20 ticks. For the 1 minute moves on gold, I look for 1.5 or 15 ticks to 20 ticks. And if I see the stack level formation, I go for 2 to 3 or 20 to 30 ticks. That's what I've been kind of aiming at, and I've been hitting him pretty consistently. But again, I don't enter a trade without already being okay taking the L. And that's how I control my sizing and all of that. Okay. And I repeat, I always do the same thing, right? 50Ks, I go 4 to 6 micros. I haven't traded a 150K in a while, but when I did, with gold, it might be different. I would trade anywhere from 9 to 21. With 25Ks, I've only been trading 2 to 4 micros on 25Ks, and I've been doing amazing with those as well. But this is the same process I follow. I look for the same setups over and over and over again. I look for the guidance of my lines that create my levels, because I know what happens when those levels get created, and I look for them to be attached to those colored candles, because those also give them strength, right? If I see those back and forth, I already know what's happening. It's going to be a potential range spot. And if you zoom out, you'll be able to identify all these little areas where you see the tug of war happening, right? You're seeing a bunch of these regular candles, and then, oh, there's your little tug of war happening right there. And then, right, I'm not a big fan when they're that wide, but they're still in the vicinity, right? In the same area. And guess what you can do here? Boom. Just wait. There's your break. There's your retest 1, 2, 3, right? Each one would have wicked you out. If you used the candle like I do here for a stop loss, I would have gotten stopped out here. If I tried to re-enter it here, I might have used this one as a stop loss, and I would have gotten stopped out again. If I still liked it, I'd re-enter it, right? But if I took it twice, which I don't tend to do back to back, if I lost it once, like, let me just wait, because it could re-enter and it could still do the same thing. Let me wait to see if it does it one more time, but not the same, like back to back, right? Because I try to protect my strikes. I have my 3 strikes I'm out rule. So if I got strike 1 here, I'm not going to go for strike 2 immediately. I'm going to be like, no, let me wait. And then I might like look at one of these two. They closed outside again. This is still looking good. I'm liking this swing low here, and I might re-enter it. I might not. I might just watch it, right? I'm going to be picky at this point. I already lost 1, and I'm strict to my rules. Strike 2's coming. If I take strike 2, I have 1 play left, and I'm going to be fine, because I'm not going to blow that account out of tilt or emotions just because I took 2 L's. You know, I'm not reading the market right. The market's not doing what it wants to do. We're at all-time highs. We got FOMC. We got all these other things. You know what? It's not agreeing with me today. I'm not reading it well. Let me take a break. I'm not going to go into tilt mode and mess up my day, mess up my accounts, and blow more money, right? There's your breakout and your move. That was it. They didn't give you anything more. Was this all-time highs at this current moment? Maybe it was. At that current time, it looks like it was, until obviously it took off later, right? And that was it. And then it came back the other way. And look what it does when it comes back the other way, right? You have your blue candle here, blows through it, retests it, right? Retests a couple times, and then comes back the other way. And you see each little pocket, right, where you see these reactions at, right? If you go back and you want to mark, right, structures, right? This is a little secret stuff that I like to use quantum with. You have these blue candles that have not been broken. These are going to be strong little structure points for you, right? Oh, look, right? This is where it kind of held off. If you didn't have a level here, you still have these blue candles over here, right? You have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You can mark whichever ones you want. And it bounced inside that pocket, right? These candles are not random candles. There's a specific reason they turn into that color, right? But I can't obviously divulge into that because it is proprietary. That's my new favorite word. But you'll see the same setups over and over and over again. There's days where it's just range. There's days where there's clean A++ setups. But you're waiting for that same thing over and over and over again. The setups do not change. You're waiting for the level reactions. You're waiting for it to come back to a level. And you're watching your action lines give you that guidance if it looks like this is going to hold this general area with your other confluences to give you that move, right? And if it's not ready, right? The 5-minute was pretty rangy right here. If it's not ready, it's okay to not take it. If you're not liking the setup, don't take it. You're going to miss plays. I miss plenty of plays. I don't catch every single one. There are setups all day. I'm not chasing every single one. I'm waiting for those ones that I like. And the ones that I like are always reactions near levels. Reactions near levels led to that buy signal here. That obviously the cross happened in front. So the move was already in progress. Then pulled back a little bit, retested that level again, right? Held once, held twice, held 3 times. 3 times. Attached to what? Blue candle. Look at that. Attached to blue candles. Already destroyed that bearish candle on the 5. Held, took off. All right, you had a second confirmation finally, right? You had a few forming, right? This is your 5-minute range over here. It was kind of ugly, right? Where you had from 4:50 p.m. until about 9 p.m. before this thing took out this whole range here, right? Obviously, 4:50 is when the market closed last night. So let's go over here to 6, right? Let's go from 6 until almost 9 o'clock. 3 hours of range. You're going to be staring at the chart for 3 hours? I wouldn't be. I would not be. But as long as it kept holding above this 166, kept closing above 166, kept closing above 166, there was a potential long play there. And your stop would have been right below a closure of that level. You could have picked the blue candle. You could have picked this swing low, right? You can give yourself a little bit of room, but your stop losses are set, okay? So this is what I look for always when I'm looking for my action lines, right? Here's a nice clean shot of what I'm looking for my action lines, right? We're in the pocket. This is the pocket. This is what I call a pocket. The pocket, I have a 5-minute level here and a 1-minute level here. Here's that pocket. I want to see what it does when it hits that pocket. Look what it does. There's my lines. Oh, there's my guidance. There's my little curl up, right? My curl up here. If I like this, I'm like, oh, let me enter here. Where's my stop loss going to be? Either below this candle or below this level. And I'm going to enter around here, 66. Oh, shoot, that's less than a 5-point stop loss. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that every day. Like, why not? 5-point stop loss. Where do you find plays like that? There's your move. Held the level. You had your clear points of what needed to hold. There's no guessing. This needs to hold. If it doesn't hold, oh well. If it holds, my action lines are giving me this guidance. We have a potential to form another level here. We might hold this and go, right? And if you zoom in, look what you see, right? It's attached to it right there. There's that little 1-minute level that formed. Boom, retested, then took off. That's all I look for, right? I'm already entering this okay with the L, right? 5-point stop loss. I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. If I'm going to play 5 or 6 micros on that, I can take that L and I'm not going to worry. You're going to lose trades, right? Be willing to accept that, but you're going to be pickier and pickier each time. Each time you wait for those clean setups, right? For your confluences, whether you're using llamas fibs, whether you're using orb, whether you have personal takes. What do people use? Previous day high, previous day low. There's all sorts of things people use. Combine it with what you see and let those things help you give a little bit of a guidance of where the play might be dead. This is how I survived the October when I got my first paycheck, all the way until the middle of April when I started coaching. I had nothing but futures income coming in. That is how I took care of my family for several months. With nothing but futures income, I was protecting every single one of my accounts because I was doing 3 strikes. I was following my process. I knew where my stops were. I knew what I was looking for over and over and over again. And was I perfect? No. Nobody's perfect, okay? And I want to make that clear, right? You're gonna lose trades, right? And if you're blowing an account in one night, you need to reconsider your sizing, your risk, and what you're really doing. Because if you're blowing accounts in one day, you're straight up just gambling, degenning, like hardcore degenning, and you're not following a process or a plan, okay? This is my plan, right? Anybody that's interested in learning how I trade, this is how I trade. There's no secrets to it, right? I have other little confluences I teach in my one-on-ones that I go over that add to what I'm already seeing. But quantum is my main strategy. That is my number one strategy. And I look for the same things over and over and over again on repeat, right? There's no guessing where my stop losses are. I'm already entering a trade. Okay, if it's not ready, I will take the L, right? You guys have seen me in Power Hour take the L's after hitting my 5 points. All right, I hit my 5 points. It edges my 10 points, and then it takes me out, and I'm like, oh, well. Oh, well, on to the next. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait. Oh, I like this one again. And I entered again. So that's a part of that, right? That's the psych part. All right. So, and I am recording this one, guys. I'm recording this one too. So just so y'all know, if you're all popping in late. So there's a lot of little good psych in here today. I just start ranting. All right. So again, be clear, identifying what you're seeing, right? What you're seeing, obviously here, right? This signal played out okay, but how much did it really go down? It went down to 81. It went down to 74, right? During Asia, low volume, I think the average candle was moving around 5 to 6 points last night. That's very little volume. We're waiting for FOMC today, right? You're going to be chopped up. You're going to be watching the chart for like an hour and a half, waiting for something to happen. I don't like that. I choose not to watch paint dry, which is why I also moved to gold, because gold flows normal almost all day until power hour. Like there's a point in power hour where it starts to chop a little bit, and that's like 3:30 to 4ish, I think, every power hour. What I've noticed at least. But you can see clearly here, right? There's your first one. Oh, look, what did it do here again? It did it again, right? At this point, right, this is my curl up. What I call curl up. Some are sharper, some are more bowl, right? Bowl, and there's a sharp one. Whatever the candle that's attached to this curl up, I will also use as a stop loss, right? If I enter here, for say I'm liking this curl up and I like the entry around here, and if I didn't catch this, I like it when it pulled back, and I'm like, okay, if this holds this curl up, right, it should still go in that direction, hopefully, right? But my stop loss, right, if I'm entering 70, maybe 72, where's my stop loss going to be? Here's 65, 7 points, you know? And then what else do you see here, right? This is the other part where, what else do you see? There's your range. There's your break. There's your retest. 3 bar, push up, combo. You could combo up candlestick structure too, right? You can use whatever little combo things you want. There are setups that repeat themselves over and over and over again. Nothing changes, right? I'm not changing what I'm reading or what I'm looking at. My level creations, my action lines, the A++ setups, right? Cross in front of the candle tends to be a no-go, right? The move is usually already in progress, right? When it crosses in front, right? What would I use here, right? If there was a level up here, if there's absolutely nothing up here, I'm not looking at that, right? If there was a level up here, let's just say this right here is a level. There's a level up here. What am I looking for? Those wicks, and guess what? My action lines for that curl, and I might enter right here. And guess what's that going to lead to? That. Because guess what I'm expecting? If this continues to pull down and gives me that cross, that's going to form my level and my potential A+ setup. Whatever it is that forms when those crosses happen. But I already know where my stop loss is going to be, right? What am I going to take? What, 89 and 93? And then, again, 5-6 point stop loss. Why not test it, right? Some people test plays that have a 20+ point stop loss all the time, but you won't test a 5-point stop loss? Like, I test these over and over and over again, and I learn from each mistake. What happened here? What was I not looking at? Was my 5 minute not doing the same thing here? Like, look at where's my 5 minute here, right? This is at 8:32 p.m. What was my 5 minute doing at 8:32 p.m.? Oh, look. It's also pointing down. Right? Where do I have room to? Potentially this 5 minute level. Am I going to expect it to hit there? No. It's a stacked level. So I'm eyeing in between from 84, maybe up here 88, maybe in between here 75, 13 points. All right, let me go for 8 points. Let me go for 9 points. And then as it approaches that halfway point, let me start trailing. And if it goes all the way, it goes all the way. That's perfectly fine. Right? It did tap all the way before it launched again. But I'm not chasing the whole move. Like, I'm scalping, right? I'm a scalper. Like, everyone knows that, right? How many times you guys listen to me in Power? I take my 5, my 10, my runner runs, and then my runner gets trailed out, and then Logan enters a trade, and then he's going, and I'm just cheering his ass on. I'm not changing my way, right? Sometimes I leave one runner just to let it go, and that runner stays at back entry because obviously it has to go all the way back up. And I'm like, you know what? Let's see. Let's just see, right? You guys have seen multiple times one runner, I leave one micro or two sometimes that just, I let him go, right? At that point, I'm playing with house money. I have no stake in that. And I do that on repeat over and over and over again, okay? All right. So hopefully this part is clear, right? I want to make sure everyone understands what I'm looking at when I'm looking at these curls, right? I'm not looking at them in the middle of nowhere. I want there to be something to guide me, a level, something, not in the middle. I'm not catching a reversal in the middle of the chart when I have nothing to look at, right? Big move up, no levels. I'm not going to be looking at this, looking for, oh, this is going to reverse. No, I'm just going to let it do its thing. And if it pulls back, it pulls back. That's perfectly fine. Okay. All right. That's the one I wanted to emphasize on today, because I see a lot of people ask me a lot about the curls yesterday. A lot. Like, what is the curl? The curl is that bowling, right? And sometimes you see these sharp turns too, right? And those are still, I call them, I don't know what else to call them. Obviously, you could call them a sharp turn, or if you want. But this is that bowling I'm looking for, right? And the candle attached to that bottom side of that bowl, right? Wherever I'm looking at where it's starting to form, that's the candle I'm using as my guide right here. This one right here. And when it bold here again, I could use this one right here. But obviously I have levels here as well that I know can hold because again, right? What do we see time and time again, right? Look down here. Levels that hold. They hold, and guess what forms on top when they're playing with them? A range. On repeat, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. This is how I eat. This is how I pay myself. This is how I survived all that time without needing any other income, because this is all I played over and over and over again, waiting for how these areas show support, or on the opposite side, resistance. That's it. And you have to be patient, right? There are a ton of setups, but don't try to take every single one. Oh, look at that, right? Look what happened up here, right? What did we just go over, right? You had your sharp turn here, big purple candle, right? Another lesson for the new folk, right? Big purple candle, getting retracements. This is a common occurrence. When you see these giant purple candles that form, do not go in saying, this is about a dump. No. They get retraced at a high rate. Do they sometimes go? Yes, sometimes they do. But they get retraced way more than they go, right? A lot, right? Oh, A++ setup, but look at the size of this thing, right? And look where it jumped. It challenged that downtrend. What else did it do? It just broke this little attempt of a down, and it held. So you guys, this is where I use the cloud as a little guidance when I see these monster purples. And I've seen some of you play the retracements. Can you do it? Yes. Do I recommend it? Not always. Not always. Personally, I don't like to play the retracements. I used to, but sometimes they will go fast. So that's a risky thing. But look again, big purple. What happened? Right? And then what else happened, right? What else happened immediately after? You had a little pause. Right? You had that, right? You had this break. There's the retest that did not hold. Broke right back in. Then you had your blue. Then you had your break, and then you had your go, right? Boom. Like that, right? And then you had another one here. Oh, well, what do we have here? We have that level above, right? Let me change the color of these lines again because they're white, so they're kind of blending in with the action line levels. Okay. But what do I have up here, right? Oh, there's a break. Should I get in this? No, I'm not. Why? I have levels up top. It needs to break this for it to go. I have no room. There's a break. Retest failed. Wick. Guess what you're liking now? The short. I'm liking the short until this gets broken. Look what happened. All right. What is my 5-minute EMA doing? The coinciding one, the one that creates the secondary levels. What is it doing? Oh, the same thing. The same exact thing. You could have made an entry anywhere up here at 90, at the 90 area. Your stop loss, 99, right? If you got in up here, obviously much better entry, 92, 93. Stop loss could have been 97 or the same, 99, 300, right? Simple. It's very simple when you know what you're looking at on repeat, right? At first you're coming in this whole new strategy, right? You're seeing the colored candles, you're seeing the levels, you're seeing the lines. You're like, oh, what is this, right? You're not going to play anything until you see your reactions. You're waiting for it to get to these levels, and you're waiting for your action lines to guide you. And it's very, very simple at its core. But again, it's going to take time to learn. And I don't want you guys to coming in, trying to learn every single setup in one night, because that is going to ruin your brain. You're going to learn each individual one and get to know how they move individually. Master each one. Get comfortable with reading it, right? And when I say reading it, right, what do you guys hear me doing during Power Hour? If this holds here, if this goes here, I want to see this curl down, and if this can close below here, and this can do that. That's what I'm doing. I'm narrating and reading what my lines are telling me and what my candles are telling me. over and over and over again, right? And Maestradamus, that's all I'm doing. I'm just reading what I'm seeing, having those action lines give me the guide around these levels. So I want to see it pull up here, and I want to see what it does up here. And if I see this, boom, then I should hopefully see this move happen. It's literally all I'm doing, right? But again, master each individual setup, right? Mastermind students, F1 students, you're not going to go in and try to master llamas, maxes stuff all in one night. It's going to freaking kill your brain. Master each individual setup. Don't try to look at everything. Remember, this is a whole strategy. This is not just a run-of-the-mill indicator. This is a whole strategy built in with stop losses, with guidance, with points, with levels, everything in here for you to use to your advantage, right? Trading with orb, right? I use my levels to avoid false breakouts of orbs. If I have a level above orb, what am I going to wait for? I'm going to wait for those levels to break and give me some room. If I don't have the room, I'm not taking a trade. I don't see it. I don't like it. I've avoided so many fake breakouts of orb because of this. And the more you guys start practicing it, start noticing how these things react towards these areas, the better you're going to get and the more comfortable you're going to get entering a trade, being okay if it's not ready and it takes you out, right? But don't play setup after setup back to back to back to back. Wait for certain things to line up. Wait for it to approach. Wait for it to hold an area. And if it loses, it loses. You're going to lose some, right? This is not 100% win rate. It's a pretty good, if you're patient, it gets pretty good, right? This last couple, well, it's been a month now since I started trading gold. I've had my best win rate in a while with just gold. But I don't like to look at win rate. Like, I don't like to look at that shit. Like, I hate showing statistics because it kind of like feels like everyone's going to expect that. And it takes time to get there because I'm picky. I'm very picky with what I'm playing. I'm very picky with what I'm seeing, right? Look what this did, right? Where did it come back down to? What did we bounce off of? Right? The previous little range. That's where we bounced off of, right? Would I play anything here? No, I wouldn't. Oh, it's breaking out that purple candle. Would I play anything here? No. Why? You have a 5-minute level right above, right? There's nothing here telling me to go anywhere at the moment. We got FOMC. There's just nothing clean. I'm not going to enter a trade if I don't see anything clean. Very simple. All right. Now, before I start answering some questions, let me go to gold. Okay. Gold, the exact same thing we just went over with NQ, but the 1 and the 2. Those are the two time frames that create these levels that hold, right? When I was testing gold, I was testing the 1 and the 5. And I kept noticing that didn't give a damn about the 5-minute levels, right? Just like NQ, when I first started building Quantum with NQ, I was testing 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15, 30, every time frame level. And the ones that held the best that I would see beautiful wicks on, beautiful reactions on, were the 1 and the 5. For gold, the 1 and the 2. You see things like this, right? Here's your stack level below, just like we saw in NQ, right? Boom, boom, right? Look where it held. Look where you saw your bowling. Look where you saw your 5-minute doing the same thing. And look where it went, right? It's on repeat. The same exact setups, the same exact thing, right? Gold is a little different than NQ. Gold does like to really challenge the levels a lot more than NQ does. NQ tends to hesitate a little bit more. Gold does not. Once gold gets this push, it will push and it may rip through some levels. That's why, right? I'm not going to look. If it's coming to these levels, I'm going to catch a quick short here. No. I want my EMAs, right? My action lines. See, I still say EMAs. I want my action lines to catch up and give me that bowling, that reaction where, okay, it's respecting these levels. It's holding. There might be a setup here. Until then, nothing, right? You look how sharp they're pointing up. Look how far apart they are. There's nothing there to take a short on here. Nothing, right? I want to see what it does if it gets up here, right? It would be better if there was another 2-minute level. The next stack level is all the way up there at 40.62. Could it get up there? I don't know, but I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to definitely see if there is a point up there. Obviously, this is the next point, right, where we saw resistance. Like we see resistance once. We saw resistance twice. We saw resistance 3, almost 4 times. It's coming back to it, right? Each time it tests it, though, it becomes a little bit weaker. So I'm cautious. If I caught it once here and I caught it again here, right, it's approaching up to it, I'm still going to wait for the same reaction where I see my action lines giving me guidance. But I'm also cautious because I like it wait when it's a little closer, like this, because I could use this part up here instead of using this all the way up here, right? Little bit more, little lower risk. But gave you a nice pull down. All right. So sell signal, right? Look at that. Gave me a sell signal. Would I have taken that? Nope. How much room do I have down here? Not much. Not much at all, right? What else are you still in technically? A range. Look at that range right here, right? If you draw it in on gold, right? You had more support down here. Huge wick, nice wick. Look what it does, right? There's your break. There's your retest. The break just so happened to also be an A++ setup, right? After a failed bearish setup. So multiple confluences, failed bearish move, break out of the range, levels below, launched. Look at it's wicking hard down off of the levels. If it cannot hold below 4412, you know, it's going to come down some. Okay, pulled up to 446 though. So that was a nice strong push up. But again, would I be looking for a short here? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't because my lines are not catched up. They're not caught up, right? So, again, I actually just noticed this part too, because this is how each individual purple candle reacts, right? When you have the break, the retest. Oh, look what happened over here when it broke that purple one here, right? The break, the little retest, right? Oh, what is it doing right now? The break, the retest. And then obviously you had your level. All right, this is the same thing you see after it breaks each individual bearish candle over and over and over again, right? Where you see a break and a retest, a hold, you can let your runner keep going, break again, let your runner spike up to the level. Or if the way I do it, as it approaches a level, if I'm still in a runner, I just start trailing it closer, right? Because I know what could potentially happen at that point. Look at that meltdown, right? Would I have taken this? No, I personally would not, right? But it's still cool as hell to see it happen. Where I'm like, if this hold below that level, if it breaks back down below 440, 442, right, 44.2, it could potentially come back down. And it came back down. Okay? It's very simple at its core, right? But again, for me, it's simple because I've been doing this for a long time, right? I'm the one that built the strategy. So again, it is simple to me. I keep saying it's simple. I know when you're new, it's not that simple, but I want you guys to see each individual thing first, right? I can already piece it all together, but I've been doing this for a very long time. There's zero reason you guys cannot follow me because everything that I do is here, right? The only thing I have that I don't show is my Saucebox and how I play off the Saucebox. Right. I also have that other little Saucebox strat that's intraday as well that I've taught my students how to play with that you don't really require quantum with, but quantum gives me that extra guidance on what I could use to look for when it's approaching these areas. Okay. But it's the same thing on repeat. I'm reading the same thing yesterday, right? When we're doing the morning show stuff like if this needs to hold below here if it wants to keep going. It needs to break above here and hold above here if it wants to keep going. Right? With gold, what I would have said if like this needs to hold above 44.2 if it wants to keep going, and it did not. Immediately pulled back. All right. Whew. All right. I'm gonna start answering some questions because I already went on for a nice little rant there. But I hope you guys, right? Each time we do these sessions, I want you guys to learn what you're reading. I want you guys to learn what you're seeing, right? I don't want anyone to ever have to rely solely on my calls to you know, you guys to enter a trade or something like that. You guys should be seeing the exact same thing I'm seeing And you guys should be learning to test setups here and there, right? Here and there. Learn those from those mistakes, right? But also in the chat, we're very active in there. Please screenshot your losses and share in there. We're going to break it down. Right? We're going to break it down for you. We did that, a lot of that last night, a lot of it. So I really recommend anyone that's new that just joined, go back and scroll through last night, like from 6 p.m. until like 11 p.m. There's a ton of amazing information in there that we went over. A lot. All right. Oh, sorry. I'm feeling better, but my nose, like on and off, gets runny. All right, so trying to get the money back from the AWS outage. Oh, damn. Yeah, that AWS, shoot, man. I've heard some horror stories about that AWS outage, bro. Good morning. How are we doing today? I hit all my targets. And hell yeah, Eddie. That's what I'm talking about. I did the same thing last night. I requested like 3 payouts last night, 4 payouts. And I'm not touching any fundeds until I get those. And today's FOMC Friday. Like I'm waiting on another TPT payout too, so I'm not touching anything today. I'm just gonna work on evals. I probably have had my best week, right? I had I'm including that Robinhood that call, that $140 call that I had. I know my wife posted it on my socials that I turned $140 into $2,500. So I'm including that for my weekly pay. that was a wild little one. I completely forgot about it too. What was funny is like I got into a gold trade. I was like, oh shit, the market launched overnight. Let me go take a look at it. And I was not expecting that. It could chop till FOMC, Sam. It could, right? But you tend to see, you'll see some normal movement on FOMC days between 8 and I would say 11:30. You'll see some normal movement, sometimes up until 1. And then after that, it starts slowing down because now you're waiting for that FOMC. Now everyone's like, let me just chill here. All right. I'd recommend doing the majority of TP1, then another chunk at TP2. Leave 1 or 2 runners. If you're a 3 micro trader, then just 1. Yeah. So Sam gives a ton of amazing information. Sam's like basically Sam Price. There's a few guys that are like mini-me's. Can't wait for the Black Friday deal. Yeah, I know. I always renew my stuff on Black Friday. That's when I got my subscription, so I always renew it on Black Friday. It's a hell of a deal. Very picky. Damn, I just got here. All right, let's see. Damn, there you go, Sam. That's your second pro you've now hit buffer on, brother. You got 2 pros that are now your printing businesses, brother. Congratulations, bro. That's amazing. Protect those, dude. Amazing, bro. I'm so proud of you, man. So freaking proud of you. Do you consider taking trades around Saucebox levels even if there are no 1 minute? Yeah, so J-Rod, exact. So that's a great question, J-Rod, for students, right? Saucebox, I do. If there's no levels, I still look for my action lines to give me those same kind of reactions, right? Because that's an area of interest for me, a major area of interest. So if I see that my action lines are giving me guys to potentially form levels inside of there, which happens quite often, I do. Right, with the same general consensus where I'm looking for that curl to be around that area of interest for me, and I'm using that same that curl where I'm looking at, right, and the candles attached that are using the level or the candle attached to that curl as my stop loss point. If you have stuff like Maxway, Llama, PHP price action, you can, yeah, exactly, yeah, Sam, you could absolutely. I've done that many of times with the Saucebox and Llama stuff, many a time. I'll be right back. Got a call. All right, Nomad. Stacked candles just show up during this class. What a trade. There you go. You guys saw it. As I'm explaining it, I'm glad you're seeing it. Just got that gold line. Good shit, hard now. You guys caught that long, man. Beautiful. You guys caught that long. Exactly how he described it. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is what I love when I'm reading the questions, guys, after I'm explaining everything and I'm seeing that you guys take these trades as I'm explaining it, and I'm not even taking break because I don't take trades if I'm not fully focused. I'm just watching, and I'll take 1 or 2 here, but very light. I just like to see when I'm reading back, and I'm like, just like you described it. It's like that. Yes, thank you, because you're seeing it on your own without waiting for me to tell you this looks good right now. You should enter now. No, you're seeing it on your own. That's what I want. That's what my goal is for you guys to be able to read these setups on your own and narrate them. And then it's such a cool feeling. Like, I remember when I was doing this, and I was showing off with my wife, and I was showing her, if this happens, if this does this, this is, this is what it should do. And then it's like, okay, we're watching, I'm waiting. Okay, there's this. Okay, now if it goes, boom, and it goes, and I'm like, oh, it's so cool. And my wife would just be like, I don't know what you just read, but okay, cool. You're happy, I'm happy. I was always like super excited, like, oh, that's so cool. And it's cool to see that, when you're able to narrate it over and over and over again, just waiting for the same reactions. All right. I can't really afford courses, so really doing a lot of. Absolutely, Nomad. Like, this was always the goal with Quantum, man. Quantum was never a thing I needed people to take a one-on-one with. I wanted to make sure people understood this. I wanted to make sure that, it was something that could be learned without needing a course from. Like, everything is in my videos. I do this, on repeat. What's up, Schwab? you missed. Well, I did record it, Schwab, so I will post it up either tomorrow or maybe later today. I don't know. Yes, sir. Wanted buffer by Friday and got early. Beautiful, man. All right. Got a lot of psych stuff and level explain. Yeah. Do we got to change the settings when bouncing around M and Q and gold? At the current moment, Cuban, yes, you do. Right. This is the way I've been kind of battling that, right? If you have, I think, essentials, I don't know if you can do it on essentials. But obviously I have premium, but I've been opening up windows, right? I have my MGC and my NQ. And then obviously when I'm doing power hour and I'm looking at everything and everyone wants to look at everything, right? I have the 5 screen set up, right? I have the 5 screen set up, but I have each individual, setting already in place, right? Right there, the 1 and the 2. And then up here, I have the 1 and the 5, just like that, right? I know there's templates you can save on my phone. It's a pain in the butt sometimes, but I stick to trading gold on my phone. I just love the way gold moves. So I stick to gold trading on my phone now. And I just have the 1 and the 2 minute chart up on my phone with the 1 and the 2 minute level, so I don't have to change it ever. But if I'm like trading both, if I'm in the morning, right between 11 and like between 10 and 9:30, 11, wherever we're doing the morning show and stuff, I got all these up to see if I see any decent setups. MVG, obviously I use MVG as well, right? Right now we don't see any. Oh no, do I have the table off? I think I turned the table off because I don't like looking at the table on my phone. But on my PC, I'll look at the table. So I'll have MVG, I'll have this, I'll have that, The ADHD helps when reading all of this. But if I'm on my phone, it's just 2 screens. I just have 1 and the 5 on NQ if I'm trading NQ, or, oh dang, look, NQ did a little stacky stack. Or I do the 1 and the 2 on MGC. So hopefully we can figure something out where it's just like a quick selection type thing. But so far at the moment, the best way is to have it toggled. Just the way you have to go and switch. Yeah, Sam, you're not the only one that made when I got the update too, and I was testing it. I was doing the same thing. I had to go in and make sure. I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have the 2 minute, and it's one of those little things, like those little things, right? I recommend either having the multi-screen thing, right, where you can kind of separate them, or just stick to one. Just if you're on your phone, right? I'm a phone trader, so I just stick to one. I just stick to MGC. I'm not gonna flip back and forth. So that's kind of what I would recommend. What time is it? 8:30. Be cautious. The closer we get to like market open at 9:30 and stuff like that, like 9:30. Right now the level's holding. Your 2 minute EMAs are slightly pointing down, but it's still uptrending, right? Remember what I just said, right? It just broke the 2 minute uptrend, so it could challenge 38.9, maybe 39. It could, right? It could pull all the way down to 35, but it's just one of these areas where we're close to 9. Yeah, it's playing out pretty well right now, but but same kind of thing, right? Purple candle, give you a little pull down. Yeah, there goes. There goes. As I'm saying it, it's okay. All right, and make sure you're changing. Da, da, da. His face when he missed a play, and the students got it because he was busy teaching. No, I'm Sima. I'm like, I'm fine with that, dude. I look at that. Look at it go. Look at it go. Okay. Um, I miss a lot of trades. I miss a lot of trades. Do I have to take every single trade? No, I don't. I don't have to take every single trade. You know, I just have fun teaching this. I love teaching this. Even when I do my one-on-one sessions, man, I always go way over the time. I get so lost in it. But I love to see you guys succeed, man. Like I don't need to trade anything today. I'm done. I'm waiting on several payouts. FOMC. I got like 4 evals lined up that I might touch. I might not. I have some errands I gotta go run in about like 30 minutes. So, you know, I'm gonna have a chill day today. I'm getting a. This week has been my biggest payout week since I started doing this. Hello, I didn't have time to come earlier. Is there any possibilities to learn from the first step? I did record this, Shabo, so I will post this for you guys. So you will see everything I went over, right? I went over 2 major key points. 2 major key points, which would be the level reactions, right? Where you're curling. Literally what we're seeing right now. Like we're literally seeing the curling up here on this level on that 2 minute, right? Your entry point would have been somewhere up top here at 42-ish, and you would have caught a little push down to 39. That would have been what I would have taken, right? I wouldn't hold on to anything more down. But again, right? Look what it's doing. Yep, families first, that's right. Usually can get here earlier, but today family stuff. Yep, family's always first, Schwab. Always, brother. Never let it, like that was the birth of my 3 strikes on my rule, man. Like after I had my my meltdown when I lost that 14K payout and I had my meltdown, I took my family out that weekend after the first week where I had the Tradeify account and I had a really solid week on I hit all my goals on the first week of that straight to funded on that first payout, and then I took my family out to the park, and my son was the one who said, you know, it's been a while since you were happy or had fun with us or took us out like this. And because I was in a dark place, like I was depressed, I was angry, I was sad, I was, you know, we were close to hitting like all-time rock bottoms for us. Like we were almost completely out of money, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And that first week, after that first week where I hit 400 for 5 days with micros, hit everything. That weekend when he told me that, I was like, I'm not fucking this up. Like I'm not fucking this up. Like I'm gonna make sure that I'm protecting this account. This is why I trade the way I trade up to now. And I'm not gonna blow this. And I just did a simple baseball rule. I'm 3 strikes, I'm out. If I lose three trades in any order, I'm done for the day. I'm not messing this up. This account is gonna live, and I'm not gonna blow it by being a dumbass. So, you know, it's important to listen to family. They're Schwab for me. Like I think I would have given up a long time ago if it wasn't for my family, for my kids, for my wife. I would have given up a long time ago. They're literally the reason I'm doing this. You know, like they're the thread that held me up. Absolutely, brother. 2 accounts in the green, but fought from them in the red. Have 1 account for a little later on and thinking about getting another funded next, but don't know how long it takes to get paid from them. Have a question as well. I'm usually having a losing trade or 2, then have to fight to get in the green. Yeah, Zorduro, like if you're taking the losses back to back, right? I recommend waiting for a setup. If you take 1 loss, wait for another setup if you're not liking the current area, right? Don't try to take a trade back to back. Keep the sizing the same. Keep the risks the same, right? That helps me. I've had to do that before. I've had to dig out of a red, right? But I follow my rules. Sometimes I end a day red, barely red sometimes, because I still stick to my rules, right? Normally, right, what I do is I don't even look at my P&L until I take my first strike. Once I take my first strike and I look at my P&L, and I like where I'm at, I'll stop. If not, I'll be like, let me go for strike 2. And at strike two, whatever it gives me, sometimes I'll stop after strike two and I'll move on to the next account. But usually after I take an L, I always take a break. I love to take a break and just wait, because you take an L, immediately you're gonna think about making it back. You're gonna immediately try to enter a trade to try to make that back. So it's always good to take a breather after an L. Like take a break, come back, wait for a cleaner setup that you like, um, and that tends to help me a lot. Yeah, there goes. Say held that level. Held that level. Now it's retesting. Now really retesting the 39 again. So keep an eye on those losses, Sudro. Make sure you screenshot them, right? Share them with us. Learn from them. Share them in, if they're sauce plays, right? Share them in the Maestro Gang channel. If they're quantum plays, share them in the quantum channel. But that's a part of the process. Is you're gonna lose some trades. It's gonna happen. You're not gonna be perfect, right? You're still learning the process. You're still getting comfortable with everything. You're still getting comfortable with trailing. Hitting your TPs, taking the Ls. And in the end, you just want to get consistency. You want to make sure your accounts are not being blown in less than, like, personally, right? For me, I don't like to blow my accounts in less than 15 trades, 15 losses in a row, right? The way I size, the way I look for risk, I have to lose 15 trades in a row to blow a 2K drawdown account. Even the same exact thing for the 25K. The 1500 drawdown, I have to lose 15 trades in a row. And that's where I kind of keep my measurements for my sizing and my risks and everything. There you go, Schwab. Look at that, and look what it led to, right? Oh, there was your candle closure. There's your big purple on the 2 minute. Right? We just went over this, right? Level reaction, EMA's curling down. Yeah, 0-0. And 0-0, right? That's you versus you. I know I know like, why do sometimes we say things and then you're like, oh man, that resonates with me? Because we've all done it. We've all done it, Sergio. I've done that before. Martingaling, right? The famous words of Logan Martingale, where we take a loss and we size up, right? That's how I blew my 14K account. That 14K account. The first trade, I lost $500. Next trade, I sized up, lost 1,500, was down two. The next trade, I sized up even more, and then I obliterated my account. After that, I stopped doing that shit. Like, I just stopped. I was like, no, there's no point of doing that. And it's your runners that really collect. Sometimes you're going to end barely in the green, and you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with having a day that just barely ends in the green. You have to be okay with having a day that might end in the red too, but stick to your rules. That's a big part of this process, is learning to lose. Learning to lose is a huge thing in this. I say that over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Can we review this long trade at 710? Why it's an A++ setup? 710. And this was on NQ, or was it on gold? I'm guessing it was on NQ. On gold, that's 710. I don't see anything. Let me take a look. 710. That's, oh, I think you might be 810. Sorry. I know I have it like 810. Okay. So the real setup here started at 8:15 a.m. 8:15, you had that hard wick down right here, right? And then you would patiently wait for your 2 minute, right? With gold, it's the 1 and the 2, right? For NQ, it's the 1 and the 5, right? So the creations of levels, right? This is where these action lines are what create my levels, where I'm using these as guidance around other levels, right? So as soon as this wick down happened, and now I know that this level is a strong point, this 441, I would be waiting for my 2 minute to also agree with this area being a strong point. So you had a couple entry points. You could have entered up here and had your stop loss right above here at that curl down, right here. And you would have had a nice little, what, $5 move down, almost $4 move down right there, 40 ticks on this, right? Or you could have entered up here as well on the creation of this one, and you could have had a nice little $3 30 tick move down right there. But I like the entry points where I start seeing the curling. I have a level to give me guidance. So this is what led to this signal forming, right? And I'm not trying to get in, right? This is a bigger candle, right? So be cautious, right? You're not going to get in on a candle closure of something like this for a couple reasons. It's a little bit larger than the previous candle, all right? It could go. It shouldn't be a problem if it does it. I don't care, right? The risk is a little higher, right? On that retracement up 39.7, your stop loss right above here might have not been too bad if you're willing to take that risk for a continuation push down, which it could. But up here, my entry would have been up here, and a stop loss above that level, or a stop loss if I chose to do it on the 2 minute right above that 44. Okay, and that 44 just so happens to be right 444, just at that level. So this is just your action lines agreeing with the hold of this area. And look at that, right? It's just, this is the repeat pattern I look for. Looking for reaction at a level, watching my action lines, right? And there are going to be occasions where, you know what, it pauses and it decides it wants to keep going. But you have to be okay with that. Like, you have to size and be in a trade okay if it doesn't do what you're hoping it does, right? We're not predicting the future. We're predicting the pattern at a very high rate, right? Literally, we just went over this. This is that setup, that curling action that we see over and over and over again for that nice move down that's continuing right now. Just beautifully, right? This is how I get into trades at a very, like, top points. Low risk, very low risk usually. If you guys listen to me when I'm saying power hour, right? I like this with a stop loss, 5 or 7 points sometimes, 10 points sometimes. If they're 15-point stop losses, I'm not a big fan of those really. Like with NQ. With gold, I try to keep it within 20 ticks. I try to, right? Sometimes it's hard to keep it with gold. Sometimes when it's volatile, man, like, it can go a little higher than that. But if it is, I size down. But this is just reacting to the level. This is what you want, right? If it broke through here, what would I wait for next? Up here. If it broke through here, where would I wait for next? Up here, right? And obviously I have a Saucebox up here with a bunch of levels. So obviously if it pulled up here, this is going to be a huge area for me to keep an eye off, because that's another added confluence for me. But at the moment, I'm looking where it's reacting around these levels. Okay, so that's why this was a nice setup, and it played out beautifully. All right, you got in that 40 roll. Nice, Swab. Nice, brother. That's all you got to do, Schwab. It's practice, practice, practice. Even if it's light, start it light, work your way to a little bit up, but it'll always be, like, again, size enough where you're comfortable with the L. Yeah, that's a good mindset to try to hold to yourself, right? But again, here's the thing with, like, here's the thing with that, like, these we try to put these mindsets on ourselves throughout that it's easy for us, because I remember always trying to convince myself when I was when I sized down from minis to micros, I was always not convincing, I was trying to convince myself if I switch back to minis that I'd be done much faster, that I could just trade 2 trades and be done already instead of going for 3 or 4. And I would always, like, have to remind myself what it looks like, because I took L's, like I took some strikes, and I'm like, well, if I took the L here, I would have been down 400 or 500. I would have been down 300 versus I'm only down $60. Like, that's that stuff where it's like you're constantly like talking to yourself in the whole process, where you're filling yourself with doubt, and you just kind of have to shut that up and just be like, screw that. I'm just gonna follow my same routine, my same cycle. I like this. I'm getting in. My stop loss is here. I'm okay with the L. If it L's, oh well. If I take the L, oh well. I'll wait for the next one. Simple as that, right? But we make it difficult on ourselves. Those mind games, the mind games in trading are wild, guys. Wild. So where will we enter, Mike? On this up here, you have 2 points to enter. So your entry, you're not entering on this immediate wick and pull down. I would not enter anywhere here, right? Because it gave you that wick and it gave you a push down. What I would wait for is for the approach back up and for that bowling, right? That curling. I call this the curling to happen again. And this will be my guide right here, right? So here, when I see this, I would try to make an entry point anywhere around here. anywhere around here. So 41.2, 42, anywhere around here would be nice. And my stop loss would be right above the curling at 430, 43.3, or if you want to give it a little bit more breathing room, right above 44.4. Obviously, on the 2 minute, the 2 minute gave you a little bit better entry point, right? If I'm looking at the 1 minute, that would have been the 1 minute. If I'm looking at the 2 minute, I'm seeing this turn right here at 42, and I would have entered anywhere around here at 42, and my stop loss will be right above 43 or that 44 level, just right there. That curling is giving me that reaction I'm looking for, and then I will catch that little pullback. And right now we're getting a pull up. Right, it's holding the uptrend, so you got to keep an eye, guys. This is where the cloud helps with runners, right? If you don't have levels, right? Remember, it broke out of this range over here. Look where it's holding on, right? There's that uptrend on the 1 minute, that cloud. That's how I use the cloud right here. If it didn't break that downtrend, we're coming back up. Boom, we're coming back up. Would I take a trade here? Nope, I wouldn't, but it's cool to see it. Wait, we're cooking now, boys and girls. Nice. Nice, prime time. Protect that baby. Lightning funded, dude. That's a straight to funded, bro. That is a hell of a prize right there, man. You're kicking with gas. That's right. You're kicking with gas. Cafecito, the 2 minute on NQ does work pretty well for Asia. Like there are some decent 2 minute signals on Asia, even with the chop. The problem with higher time frame trading, right, is that you're gonna wait longer. You're gonna wait longer. Let's take a look at the 2 minute chart. Right, you have some decent stuff. Right, you can see a couple. If you follow the same general rule of just waiting for those candles to be the same size, right? Big blue, way bigger than these. Avoid that. Cross happen in front, wouldn't be in that, right? This purple candle, about the same size as this. You have a 5 minute level here. So if you wait for that pull back up to retest that level here, stop loss above here, that would have been a nice 2 minute signal right there. Right here, purple, much bigger. Look at that retracement, right? We went over this. Cross happened in front. It did move. That's okay. Look at the approach on that level again. Look at this. 5 minute level, another 2 minute signal, right? Same exact thing that we see on the 1 minute. Look at the curling, right? 95 entry, 90 entry, stop loss above 300. Nice little pull down. Oh, look, buy signal. Look where it held back. 5 minute level. Do I enter this? Hell no. It has to break that. Look what happened, right? Look what happened. What do we go over? Break, retest, go. Another blue candle. Break, retest, go. Oh, what's happening right now? Broke, retest, and now it's trying to accept it. What's the next area? Down here, right? You see this same thing happen over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Look at where it resisted. Look at that. You got 2 5-minute levels up here now. See, over here on the 5 minute, as soon as you saw this right here, you could have made an entry at the same area, 90. 90, 91, 92, right? The 1 minute probably gave you a better entry point at 91. Stop loss above here, 300. Very simple stop loss point. And what else, right? If you want to look at structure, what else do you see here? A lower, lower swing low. There's a swing high, like lower high. Could bounce and could, right? If you're looking at structure. I don't look at structure a whole lot, but you could look at it. You could see these little patterns. And again, right? Use the cloud. Broke. Every bearish candle got overtaken. Like this is failed bearish move after failed bearish move after failed bearish move after failed bearish move. Like if you were trying to catch a short here and it failed, then you saw that big purple got retraced and that failed. This is just a lineup of failed bearish moves on the 2 minute. Look at this here, right? You can see the same thing, right? Let's do the little blue and the purples up here. Look, break, retest. Stop loss would have been up here, and then give you a little move. Not that many points. 36. Oh, okay, it was 10 points. Not bad though. And it went the other way. A little bit of a break, and it pushed a little bit. Didn't give you a whole push up. And came right back down. That was 12 in the morning though. Damn. That was early. All right. So 2 minute is not a bad time frame to look at during Asia. It's just I don't have the patience. Like I'm not gonna lie, I just don't have the patience to look at higher time frames. I want to look at my 1 minute and I want to see if my 5 minutes doing the same thing, and then I'm gonna play off of that. And I want it obviously to be around levels. That's what I want it to be around. And gold right now is rangy range. All right. Ooh, okay, 10 minutes, guys. I'm gonna have to wrap it up soon. Been there, and everyone has. I've been close to quitting many times. It helps me take breathers and reset. Yes, it does, Carb. It absolutely does. When I take a losing trade, I always take a break. Like I stop. I'll go onto YouTube. I'll play a song. I'll go get I'll get a drink of water. I'll go take a piss. That helps me just like, okay, just stop looking at the chart for a second, because you get the itch to, it didn't work. Maybe if I play the opposite way now. And then you go, oh, that didn't work. Oh, maybe if I do this now. And then you go tilt. So you got to learn how to prevent that. You got to learn how to control that. Absolutely. This is the best Discord in the game. I completely agree with you, Mr. Cheeseburger, there. I feel like having many options on the 1 minute makes me a bit FOMO. I feel like having too many options on 1 minute FOMO. Rather switch to the 2 minute and entry on the 5. Yeah, cafecito. That you can do that, absolutely. If you have the patience, go for it, man. Like you have to have that patience. Talking about failed bearish moves. Oh, did we miss something? Oh, look at that. I mean, it's still holding an uptrend. Absolutely, KS Wolf. I am so happy to be here, so blessed to be here with you guys. Like seriously, like I always say this over and over again. Like I feel like a lot of this, to me, a lot of this still doesn't feel real. Like it still doesn't feel real. Like I feel like I see myself on my socials and stuff, and I'm like, that's not me. Like that's not me. Like I wouldn't be doing. I literally a year and a half, 2 years ago, I would never have thought I'd be doing all this social shit, because I'm like that. I hated Facebook. I hated doing social. I'm like everyone that does. Oh, look at me! I'm doing this. Oh, I thought that was gay as hell, and now here I am. Oh, I'm being gay as hell. So it's wild, dude. Okay, so there was a cross on the 2, but it was strong on the 1. Do you trust go for it, or do you not trust it yet? Like you're looking for a trade now. I wouldn't be entering any trades right now. You're stuck in a pocket of levels, right? You want to see it break. First, you want to see it break 41.6, and then after 41.6, obviously you want to see it pull back up and retest this 44, and potentially, hopefully, try to break that. So currently, there I don't see anything in gold. Like it's just telling me range. Look how tight the 1 minute EMAs are, right? This is the action lines, right? Look how tight. We had one cross here, another cross here, 3 crosses in that same area, right? So you obviously have your range, right? Which it just did break out, but look where it rejected, right? Where did it reject? Where do we have room to go? Nowhere. We have nowhere to go. It's just trapped, right? This could be the range until what, like 9:15, 9:30. Remember, like what I said, I don't like being in trades. The closer we get to market open, you're just waiting on anticipation right now. Like this is the part where people get gambly, because now you're just guessing. Also, good things happen to. Thank you, Schwab. Thank you, brother. Took a long time. Because I was always in the mindset where, you know, like I always try to believe I'm a good person, and I always felt like so many bad things were happening to me that even if you were good things don't always happen to you. But I guess you just have to be patient. You have to be patient and persevere, man. Lots of persevering, like lots of it. Holy crap. Oh, there were so many times I would tell my wife, like, I think I just have to be a bad person because it doesn't seem like good things are happening for us to be, to be in the situations we were in. I remember saying that to her several times. So here's your 1 minute range and your 2 minute range. And look where it's literally bouncing around the 2 minute range. And wick back into the 1 minute range. See, this is why I avoid stuff like this. This is where I'm like, nope. I don't see anything good. We're almost 9 o'clock. You're gonna have a little bit of a push at 9, a volume push, and then you're gonna have obviously the opening. Dude, I have fun, Cabecito. Like I have fun. Like I used to do theater in high school, and I really enjoyed theater in high school. So I get to do that here. So I have fun doing it. All right, y'all. I'm gonna call it a day. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This was recorded. Most likely we'll be posting this up. Just have to do that typical review and everything. Lots of really good info today. So I feel really, really strong about what we accomplished, what we were able to teach. I know some of you guys and gals came in late. But again, you'll be able to watch this later today. We went through a lot of really good stuff. Some of y'all caught some really good ones already off of what we were going through. But this is a learning process. Take your time, right? Take your time, follow the rules, wait for the cleaner setups. Any questions you all may have, please post it in the quantum chat. We are very active. I highly recommend everyone scroll through last night. Scroll through last night. A ton of amazing questions were asked. A lot of screenshots were shared. We broke down a lot of things, and that's what I want to see us do more. I want to see us be able to help each other learn because there's going to be some questions some of us may have that some of us may not think of. So it's an amazing thing to see when we're really active in there and the questions everyone wants to ask and how we can help each other out. So I really highly recommend everyone scroll through last night's. And I will be posting this up later. But thank you again. Appreciate your time. Appreciate every single one of you guys. I want every single one of you to find some success, right? That's my goal here. That's why I do this. All right. Love you guys. See you for Power Hour. Peace out.